Adesanya, by the time you go home, how much you got?
This is a man,
in your
this is a
account.
donkey that's been ridden till his back's broken. His spirit is broken. He's only hanging on for the last few paydays in boxing now. That's all it is. He's broken. This is a broken man.
I ain't got a clue, man. You got to pay 250 grand, man.
For what?
For AJ's fight.
You're an idiot.
And AJ walked away with 3 million.
The rumor is it's going to happen, or, well, it's not a rumor. Eddie Hearn says he's working on it. Right now, September the 6th, 2018, 6:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and, it makes sense for both fighters. Right now, Dillian Whyte is a shoo-in to fight Anthony Joshua in a rematch in Wembley, April the 13th, 2019. Of course, if Anthony Joshua wins September the 22nd against Alexander Povetkin. Also, Dillian Whyte has to win in December. He says he wants to fight in December. Eddie Hearn is working on it. And the only logical fight that really makes sense is him or Luis Ortiz, because after Joseph Parker, Dillian Whyte right now is in a very good position. He's very marketable. He's built his profile up very, very well. American fans know who he is. Exciting fighter. Overall, I like him. But he wants to fight in December, and he has to understand that, listen, if you're going to fight in December, you can't take no bullshit. You're not at that stage no more. Especially if you're, talking about who Wilder's fighting and yada, yada, yada. So the logical fight would be him versus Dereck Chisora. And it's a fight where Dillian Whyte can win because Dereck Chisora, it's hard to say that he's shot. He is not really shot, but what Dillian Whyte is saying here is not false, is where, I'm not going to say the man is a donkey. In fact, this was classic right here.
You're an idiot.
Who's the idiot?
You're an idiot.
Who's the idiot?
You're an idiot. I got
Who's the
250 grand.
donkey? Who's the donkey?
You look
Who
like
is
it now.
the donkey
You
now?
look like one now.
Who is the
You
donkey
look like
now?
one now. Trust me, I got more
You're
than
a
that.
goat.
I got more than
so
that.
you want me to put it on you? I'll put it on you.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with Del Boy. He's too sporadic. You don't know what the fuck's gonna go down. I think didn't Dillian Whyte get bit on the nipple or some shit?
I'll put it on you, pussy.
Look, this poor fella down here, this poor chap done got cut. What's he pointing at? Look, he fell. But, I want the fight to happen, though. Because looking at the heavyweight division, things are complicated. And right now we're seeing that there's a bit of unofficial tournament going on where fighters are eliminating each other. For example, Deontay Wilder's taking on Tyson Fury, whether you want to believe it's happening or not. But let's say it is happening for those who don't believe, right? One of them's going to cancel each other out. And I'm not saying these guys are going to retire, but, when it comes to people saying they're the man, one of them are going to cancel each other out soon. When you got Anthony Joshua Povetkin, they got to fight. Dillian Whyte can send Dereck Chisora into retirement. If Dereck Chisora wins, he can upset everything in regards to what Eddie Hearn's trying to do, with Anthony Joshua. Because who does Anthony Joshua fight if Dillian Whyte loses? Dereck Chisora at Wembley? The biggest dream of Dereck Chisora? So you got to think that this fight, Dereck Chisora is going to be fighting for his life and fighting for a major, major, major payday, because the way it's looking right now, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are not worried about Anthony Joshua, that Wembley April date. So it's got to be somebody, either Kubrat Pulev, Hughie Fury, who wins between that on October the 22nd, 27th. That's going to be taking place on Channel 5 over there, free for you guys over in the UK. Here in the States, it's going to be taking place on ESPN DAZN. You got Gerald Big Baby Miller taking on Tomas Adamek on October the 6th. So his next fight has got to be a big fight. But he wants Manuel Char Frezo Quindo. Manuel Char Frezo Quindo are fighting September the 29th for the WBA world title. That fight is going through. They having a media workout. Manuel Char is on the 13th. That's like next week sometime. Who else? We got Trevor Bryan. Unfortunately, no disrespect to him, but he's the WBA interim champion. So that's a title right there. We don't really know what Luis Ortiz is going to do, but rest assured, I don't see Dillian Whyte fighting Luis Ortiz. I would see a Dereck Chisora fight a Luis Ortiz before Dillian Whyte. But at this point in time, Dereck Chisora is on his last legs. That's, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. These last one fight or two fights, if he loses to Dillian Whyte, I'm saying that he's going to retire, or at least he should retire. People thought that if he was going to lose to Carlos Takam before he knocked him the fuck out, that he should retire. So, in my opinion, for both of these guys, the fight makes perfect sense. The fight makes perfect sense. Dillian Whyte, I understand people's frustrations, but I'm not the motherfucking WBC. But I do understand the timeline of events and why Dillian Whyte is not the WBC mandatory right now when he should be over Dominic Breazeale. I understand. If he wants to possibly be WBC interim, then maybe fight Dominic Breazeale at the end of the year. That fight makes perfect sense. But the Dereck Chisora fight over in the UK is a much bigger fight. Also, I've been hearing that, possibly Kell Brook will be on that card against somebody. Or would they, depending on who can't, see, because y'all got too many pay-per-views going on over there. So, Dillian Whyte has to fight in December. If he's going to fight AJ, possibly in April, January, fighting in January is too far away. So I'm thinking that what card would Whyte versus Chisora be its own card, or because they would give that to you on pay-per-view, right? Or would they match that up with the return of Brook and maybe Khan versus Pacquiao, or it's going to be interesting because the pay-per-view lineup for you guys over in the UK is crazy right now. Y'all been talking shit about us, even though you pay less for pay-per-views. Are getting so many of them over there. Yeah, we right now pay for this year. We've only had one. Right? Last year we had, 3? This year we only had one. Y'all, even though you're paying about $25, $30 a pop, look how many y'all getting, especially at the end of the year. So, yeah, suck on that, motherfuckers, you bell-ins. Anyway, no, y'all cool. Y'all cool. Anyway, we'll see, because right now we're in September. Canelo Golovkin September the 15th. Canelo Golovkin 2 is next week. So, fights got to start getting announced, and Dillian Whyte's back in some type of camp. He announced on his Twitter. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.